So Joyce, I mean, you're this person who is a very social person. You're a good communicator. You have a lot of friends. You get along with just about really anybody. But then there's a part of you that people really don't know about. When people look at you, they see a confident woman, but they don't really know that you have actually experienced trauma in your life. So, like, if you don't mind, we could maybe a little bit talk about that.
Oh, okay. Yes, this actually happened after high school, and I was living in Mombasa with my dad. So during this time, his job, like something happened. The organization he was working for was sold off to like a different person. So he was the HR then for that company for a long time. And so there was, you know what happens when these these changes happen.
Yeah.
So some people lose their jobs. He had decided he doesn't want to continue with employment.
Okay.
So we moved from there. We used to stay inside. It was a hotel, this big hotel. So we moved to a nearby neighborhood. We already had a house there. So when we moved, that's when I realized there is really so much backlash, and most people actually knew me, but I didn't know them because I've never really
because of your dad's
moved
popularity.
out.
You had a senior position.
Yeah, and I had never really interacted with people outside as much. So we started a bakery business after some time, since I had already learned baking during this period I was staying there. The business took off, and within a short time really did well.
It bloomed. It was good.
Yes, it was good. So we used to have a few employees, then me, my dad. So we used to assist each other to distribute in the evening. So we'd bake during the day, and then in the evening we distribute. Each one of us had
different routes.
Yeah, different routes. So he'd use one vehicle, then I used the other. So but the hate still continued. People.
Why? Because of like losing their jobs?
Yeah, I think there's something people never really understood, that he was a HR and not in charge of anything else.
Yeah.
So the ending of the job had really nothing to do with him. Yes.
Yeah.
So after a few months, now we bloomed. We had given employment to some people there, and then even our soldier was from that community over there.
Okay.
So so they set us up actually.
They did?
Yeah, they had observed our movements, like how we
how you make your deliveries.
So every time I came home from now the normal routes, I'd find the guy. He'd open for me, like I knew I was safe. But this day he wasn't there. He was not there. So I just opened the door.
Like something was wrong.
But I just opened the gate, and then I went in. But before I could, I parked. But before I could do anything, the door was open. Someone opened the door. It was a guy, and then what he started doing is removing my earrings, bangle, everything. Like he took what I had, and then he held me and he dragged me.
He immediately suspected you.
Yeah, I'm not alone. Yeah, so there were 8 of them, like 8 guys. And then they knew I was the one using the Nissan. My dad was using another one, so they had known who goes out in what.
These are people who have mastered how you operate.
So my dad was delivering something. We had to wait. I had come earlier so that I can prepare food when he comes. We eat and sleep. Then now I'm in the middle of 8 guys. I'm asking, what do you want? Blah, 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 all that. And then they waited. They were quiet, but then they were tensed. And they had pangas, they had weapons. So after, they had weapons. I can't tell if they were real or fake, but they had.
Okay.
So my dad came in. But then he saw a lot of people in the compound, which was not the norm. So he wanted to drive out. But then when he saw they were placing pangas all over me, and then this guy was there was one guy following the car. He told him, if you move another inch, someone's neck will be gone, now me.
Wow.
Yeah, so he just, I think he's a father
panicked,
after all,
and
and
this is your
he
dad.
panicked, and even the engine was still running, so he stepped out, he raised his hands, but they beat him. I still remember those. I still have those like shots of what happened that night. He beat him so bad, and I started pleading with them, wawache. So they were like, where are you going, blah blah blah. So they told me to like open the house. Our bakery was in the compound, so I opened the house and they swept everything they could find. They swept everything they could find. They took shoes. They were still beating him up, and he had to plead with him, and I also had to plead, stop it, just take whatever you want. So they took all the documents. They took everything that was in that house, clothes, shoes, mpaka zilikuwa kwa mguu. And then they left, but before they could leave, they were looking for a rope to tie us. Hawakupata, so they locked us in the bathroom.
Oh my God.
And then after that, now my dad was like, I was the easier one to like panda, nitoke nikuje nifungue, and then nikatoka nikafungua. So then we rushed and reported. And what really did hurt me the most is these guys, they didn't even wear a mask, and they are people I knew.
Wow.
And I up to now, I still have their faces in my head. Like, there are people I used to sell my bread to. There are people I could say hello to kwa barabara. They're the ones wenye walikuwa wanachapa babangu, yani like ruthlessly. He had to like cry like
a baby.
Yani hakuna, that was my lowest point ever. And then hawakukuja mara moja, they came again. So we didn't stop vile walikuja the first time, we continued. Sasa the second time ndio walikuja wakamgonga hapa, and then we had to rush him to hospital, and that's when we realized
this is not worth it.
Yeah, it's not worth it. But then these guys ni watu ninajua.
And
that time
and also let me just ask you said you reported to the authorities. Did they ask you if you knew these people? You said you didn't know them?
No.
Okay.
We actually, mwenye nilikuwa najua, we actually gave a description, and whatever we gave, they went to his house and found it. And then there was a case going on for some time, and then they had to plead with us. Now the hate even became more. They were saying tunawaonea. Then my dad, after some time, they had to drop the case. Na kila kitu ilipotea hivyo. Yeah, but hao ni watu ninajua. But at that time I was helpless. But if someone does that again now, siwezi waacha hivyo.
I know you're this strong person right now.
Siwezi waacha hivyo. I was in a kind of trauma. Yani hata kuona watu.
You're below the age of 18.
Hata kuona being, in groups, people in groups, whether it's during the day or during the night, I could not hata singekaribia hapo. And it really affected me for a long time, because I remember my first time working, I sikuaga naongea na mtu. I was so quiet. In fact, I remember my first job, they had sent me back home because I never used to talk, and it's because of all this stuff
because
that
you don't know who to trust anymore.
Yeah, I didn't know who to, but with time, they say time heals everything, so I overcame all that. I know
you're really stronger
but
now.
That is not something someone should put nobody should have to go through that. Having seen your like the person you look up to begging for his life, it was really
traumatized.
Yeah.
But you made it, and you're strong, and he's happy.
Yeah, he's very okay.
And you have, that was a really beautiful story. I'm hoping that we were able to inspire someone today. Yeah.